Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Okay, so what are you working on?
So it's actually in an interior designer's own home, and we're creating it's an entirely new jib door in a doorway that did not previously exist, but it's in a historic setting. So it's just a standard, like solid core 1 3/4 door, but she's insistent that there is no visible hardware when it's open or closed. So that's why I landed on pivot. I'm trying to not use some kind of a sauce hinge because I think it'll be open most of the time. There is a little bit of wainscot running across the front of the door from like chair rail height down. But it only needs to open 90 degrees. It's flush. How do I explain this? It's flush with the wainscot, and then it opens in 90 degrees into like a 6-inch framed wall with plaster on both sides. So the recommendation that I got from local folks was to use the 370, but that seems so beefy. This door's not going to be anywhere near 500 pounds. So I was hoping you might have something else in mind.
So the door swings into the space, and you have to conceal the push side of the opening.
Exactly.
This is too easy. Why not just use butt hinges? Why complicate it with a pivot?
When it's open, like 90% of the time, she doesn't want to look at those hinges. She's insistent that she not see them.
Yeah, I understand.
So I know
okay.
I know it complicates it, but she's very particular. So
no, I get it. I love it. And it's made of wood.
Yep.
Okay, so a center hung pivot would certainly. And you said that this is a 6-inch jamb, and you're flushing it out to the face. So it's really only going to go to 95 degree or whatever it is, right? I'd have to put it in AutoCAD, but
slightly
it's not
over
going to go
90.
much more. Yeah. So the issue, how thick is the door? 1 3/4?
Well, it could be less if that's helpful. I don't think the door is ordered yet. So.
The issue that you're going to have is the effective door thickness is door plus applied moldings. So you're for sure going to want to put all that in AutoCAD and then rotate it to see how much of a margin you need between the jamb. Yeah. So you might need a little heavier margin, but at the end of the day, these are the mechanics of what we're dealing with. A 370 is a choice. There's obviously the 01. There is a 370 that's a lighter duty. It's a 200-pound unit. Same concept, just rated for a lighter door. I wouldn't use Rixson, even though peace and love. I would use ABH. Same. Just less expensive. And the question becomes is how. It's always going to be open. Well, you'll see a little bit of hardware when the door's open. Both at you'll certainly see it hardware at the header. Yeah. Well, you'll see the rectangular. You'll see the rectangular plate in the header, unless you really try to disguise it. You'll probably see a very small component of the floor plate, but not much. You're not going to, unless you go to means to try to conceal that as well. So the concept is sound. The local supplier did right. I would go with a lighter version of it, and I wouldn't use Rixson.
Order that from y'all.
Oh yeah, super easy.
Dan, it has to get shipped anyway.
Yeah, super easy.
Can you
how about if you
send me a link?
Yeah, I'll do that. Other options. And
as far as finish, because I know she's going to ask me that too. Does it make sense to go with Rixson just for a higher quality finish or a brass finish?
No. That's
or they're the same
I've
options in the ABH.
Yeah. So the head engineer of Rixon back in the 80s left in 1990, started his own company. So the Rixon is a 370. You know what the ABH is? It's an 0370. I'm happy to.
How original.
Yeah, well, he was doing that for marketing as well. Like, hey, there's really no measurable reason for me to advise the owner, since that's the person's money we're spending, to go with Rixon. If there was any measurable advantage for the cost, I would be saying this like you, we're advocates of the owner. So there just is not. Period. End of sentence. So that's all.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. That's wonderful.
What finish do you want?
So I think she's probably that they don't make that in like an unlacquered brass, right? They make some kind of a polished brass that's lacquered.
I can definitely order it from ABH and say, that part where you put the lacquer on everything, don't do that part.
Don't do that. That I know that would be her preference. As that's what's going in everywhere else. The hinges are on lacquered brass, the switch plates are on lacquered brass. It's just in right now. So I need to just draw that kind of in detailed section, plan view in AutoCAD, and make sure that it rotates. And then I will have to tell the installer where the pivot point is, right? Like I set that, or is that set by a template from?
Yeah, you're definitely flirting with me now. So I've developed, I've taught myself that. Yeah, you are. I've taught myself that skill because I find that I can monetize an order when I can tell you where to put the vertical axis of pivoting. So if rotating an object in AutoCAD is in your back pocket, then so you'll just start with the template and then draw yourself a couple of lines to serve as a cased opening frame. And put it where the template says, and then play with that. I would definitely consider an 1 3/4 thick door, only because the amount that you're going to mortise out for the hardware is really meant for an 1 3/4 thick door. But your gap is not going to be so excessive. I don't think in AutoCAD you're going to even get close to needing to approach 3/16. So that's still in the realm of what a standard margin is. But as you pull that vertical axis of pivoting closer towards the face of the push side, that changes. And you can probably tweak that a little bit, but you're really getting into, 30 thousandths of an inch, something a carpenter is never going to even see or think about.
Not capable.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then with that, does the hinge side of the door can it just be kind of an eased edge, or does it need a full radius like you see in an old butler's door?
The gap that you're going to achieve on that side is directly related to whether or not you bullnose top row of tile in the bathroom. You bullnose the pull side of that. You're going to want it to be the same so that the margins look balanced in the opening from elevation. Right. But you'll have to treat that edge to a certain extent, but it won't have to be what the template calls out for because of increasing that margin slightly to match the other side. Gotcha.
Okay, so just leave a little more breathing room, and then we can avoid having to really chamfer that end.
Wait a minute. I think this just got a lot easier. Why not just use an offset pivot? The door swing, just use an offset pivot.
Then would I see the end of the offset?
How
visible?
It's going to be. I'll send you a link to both.
Okay.
You'll see more, but not. What you could do if someone really wanted to get fancy with it is you could order it with an extended bottom pin. Spindle is what it is. And then the whole concept of having shag carpeting, you're going to have to just make that pin longer, and then you hide that in the floor, or literally give yourself a removable cover, like a plate that blends into the floor better.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
right.
you do see more of the hardware,
Okay.
but it does solve the margin problem.
Right. And it would get her a tighter
You
door,
give her a little tighter,
which would make her happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you a part number for both of those.
Great. And then she'll probably just order them directly from you. Like I'll just forward those on to her, and I'll have her just direct buy them from you all.
Yeah, and then if there's questions down the road about where to put the vertical axis of pivoting, I'd be very happy to participate in that conversation.
Okay, great. Well, and at that point, we may loop in our carpenter.
Yeah.
I think he'll be. I don't think that the framer's setting those. I don't think he's setting that door at least. But yeah, I would appreciate that greatly.
And sometimes what I do for people is I just make a YouTube video over it. Say, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is where the computer says to put the vertical axis of pivoting, where your plumb bob's got to end up. So there you go.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much. Great to connect with you. I appreciate everything you have on YouTube already.
Oh, thank you very much. And I'll send you an email in about 5 or 10 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.